Cheers and welcome to Chicago Reacts. My name is Lauren and today I am going to be looking at Internet Historian's new video, Fancy. He's going to be fancy at the theater. Now, I'm sure this will shock none of you. I am a theater kid. Always have been, always will be. I've always wanted to be an actor. Like, that's my whole, jam. I'm actually going to the theater soon to see Beetlejuice the musical. I'm very excited. I haven't gone to the theater in about a year, I guess, because I think last Christmas-ish I went to go see the Go Rolling show. I don't actually get to go see theater as often as I would like to, but I'm going to see what the Internet Historian's new take on it is. I'm always excited when he returns with a new and fun video. And I just wanted to reminding y'all, we do have memberships available now. You can get some content early. You can get some extra content. You'll get some shout outs as well. I do have a couple of shout outs today, not members, but new patrons. I'm sorry. So new patrons from this month, we have Duckwagon, we have Muffinesta, we've got Remy, we've got Brian Mashburn, we've got Light Shadow. So those are some of our new patrons from the month of October. So thank you again to our new patrons. And again, if you want to be a member, just $2 a month, you get a shout out at the beginning of a video. I did do that poorly recently. I'm sorry. But I'm working on getting better at it. So, I don't really want to waste any more time. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, and let me know what you want me to react to next in the comments below. But without any further ado, we're going to watch the Fancy at the Theater video. He's becoming fancy.
Brought to you by NordVPN. Tisk, tisk, tisk. Look at you. Uncultured. Unsophisticated.
I don't know that I'm unsophisticated. I am drinking cider out of a goblet. I feel like that is pretty sophisticated.
Middle class.
Oh, not even, baby.
No.
Not even. I'm not even middle class.
Don't speak. You'll just make me throw up. I'd say cover up with this dinner jacket, but I'm afraid that you'd get your head stuck in the sleeve and asphyxiate.
Help, I'm stuck.
Listen, lowball. Don't you want to be refined? Don't you want to be fancy, like moi? That's French. I don't expect you to know what it means. But I have some good news. Before this financial year ends, I have decided to make a charitable deduction. It's you, champ. For you see,
We can have premarital sex.
This virus. I have made several videos, though, which will show you how to bluff your way to the inner circles. Undetected. Yes. By the time the elites find out,
Neon Genesis Evangelion is psychological and intense.
it will be too late. I get you in, you eat all the hors d'oeuvres, and we get out. That's
Nice.
the plan. And let's
Let's
begin
go.
your instruction with theater, the YouTube premium of upper society. And the first section, symphony.
Oh.
The first period of performance, that's called Baroque, from 1600 to 1750. This featured Bach and Vivaldi. Now, there was also a guy named Giuseppe Tartini, and he was the best one of them all, because one evening he had a dream where the devil showed up and presented him with a deal. The devil would become his teacher and impart on him everything he knew about music.
Sing to me, my angel of music. Is this where Gaston Leroux got the idea for the angel of music, huh?
Yes. Once Tartini had learnt everything he could, he handed over his violin and asked the devil to play.
Now I'm just thinking about Charlie Daniels. Devils and the House of the Rising Sun.
The devil played the greatest musical piece that Tartini had ever heard. Tartini woke up with a gasp. and he tried to recreate what he had heard in the dream. And what he wrote down was his most famous piece, the best thing he had ever written. And he said, "This is shite compared to the original. This is nothing better than a tribute." And that's where you get the Tenacious D song from. He named this piece The Devil's Trill, and he claimed that the difference between his version and the version in the dream was so great that he would have smashed his violin and quit music forever had he not needed it for his job. Classical, 1750 to 1830. Mozart and Beethoven show up like da-da-da-da. Now, Beethoven was famously known for going deaf. Once that happened, everyone told him that he should just quit music forever. But he just wouldn't hear it. Anyway, there's so much I could say about these two. Romantic era. Now that's when everybody started kissing, and it's my favorite. Great piece. Mwah. Oh, you played wonderfully too. Mwah. We also enjoyed listening. Mwah. Mwah, 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 mwah. All you need to know about
Oh my
this
God,
one
with Mario and Luigi, what? Okay.
is Chopin and Berlioz. Berlioz, however, was not getting any kisses. He was relatably, painfully single, living alone in Paris. The city of love. So here's how it started. He's there and he's in his early 20s and he is looking for a new GF. So one day he attends a Shakespearean play and on stage he
Which one?
spots an actress and he immediately falls in love with her.
Oh God.
He wrote her many notes confessing his love, but her DMs went unreplied. So he began writing a symphony about her. How can she ignore this? And also around this time he started smoking a lot of opium, but don't worry about that. Anyway, so he wrote this piece
I'm sure it's irrelevant to whatever's gonna happen next.
just for her. However, his DM still went unreplied. For several months he started to get quite disheartened. Until he saw another girl. So he immediately fell in love with her instead, and he said, "You know what? I'm going to change that symphony I wrote, so now it's about this other lady, and not about that ugly one that I didn't like anyway." This time, happily, she reciprocated, and they fell in love and were set to marry. Suddenly, what the fuck? Phones haven't been invented yet. Yes, hello, I'm busy. Oh, Rome? To study? Absolutely. I'll catch the first flight out. So Berlioz went to Rome to study music. However, while he was away, he got some news.
Berlioz. I have to tell you something.
Sacre bleu. Some other, more handsome musician swooped in and married his girl while he was in Rome, and they ran away together. Berlioz was furious, and he set his mind to...
This guy, okay, well, as long as he's only taking out his anger on music and stuff, that's something. Cause like, I'm like, he's got all the makings for somebody dangerous.
solving the problem. I know what I'm going to do. I'm gonna murder her and her lover.
Yep, there it is. There it is. I was like, take it out on the music, buddy, but no. It's like, because the first, like, especially with the first girl not returning his advances as he kept writing notes, and because I will tell you, I have been the person that somebody is writing a lot of notes to. It is very uncommon. Again, this is like high school stuff, you know, it's like not to this level. Like we weren't professionals, or like it wasn't someone, like I was not at my job and someone started writing me notes. I have been that person though, where I was getting a lot of notes like shoved into my locker, and like you try to ignore it because it's like you don't want to one, you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Two, it's like I don't know this person, or it's like I barely know them. And three, it's like it's potentially dangerous. And then of course, like immediately switching when just red flags, red flags, red flags. And he's immediately switching to this other girl. Still waiting to see. So is knowing this going to help me become fancy?
And a mom. And then I'm gonna do a self-murder. Alright, so this gets pretty elaborate. His idea is to dress up.
No, not a joke. This is really his plan described in his memoirs. He would affectionately name the former mother-in-law to be as the hippopotamus. He despised her, especially because he believed she'd set up the whole marry while away plan, motivated to prevent Camille from marrying Berlioz because he was poor. I mean, I can see where, especially in this time period, you might get and that might make sense. Okay, fine. I understand why he would come to that conclusion. But that is just me being a 21st century stereotyping mothers of the day.
Up as a housemaid. He has bought both poison and 2 guns. Now he is going to sneak into the house of his ex-fiancée, and there she and her mother will be sipping tea, which he has already poisoned. Then he will pull off the clothing and reveal himself. Blam, blam, sad overture. So he heads back home to Paris to do it. But while on his travels there...
So he was going to poison them, and as they're putting poison, he's going to shoot them? Seems like overkill.
You know, takes quite a while. He has to change carriages. And when he does that, he leaves the guns in one of the little cubbies. So he's lost all his weapons. What is he going to do now? Well, his next leg on the stop is Genoa. And he decides, you know what? Let's just skip the murder and go straight to the finale. So he stops off in the port city of Genoa, and he's there at the side of the Mediterranean. He pauses for a moment, then he throws himself in. Now, some people see this whole thing happen, and they think he's had an accident, so they run in to try to save him. They pull him to the shore. He lived. So he has now reached his lowest point. He dejectedly continues home. He gets back to Paris, and he wallows around, feeling pretty sorry for himself. But he decides, you know what? I may as well do what I do best in times of trouble. Smoke a lot of opium. And while I do that, I shall write a symphony.
He's tricked me 4 times with that, like, zoom in on the music. I'm like, oh, maybe he's gonna, oh, nope, okay. He gets me every single time.
Although I ain't gonna name it after that hoe who stole my heart. And so he went back to work. But here's the thing. It was the greatest piece he had ever written, and it premiered to a huge crowd. And you know what? It was a smash hit. #1 on iTunes. But then, and here's a bloody plot twist. Remember the first girl? Well, she attended that concert, and she realized that Berlioz was a genius. And then she wrote a letter to your boy saying how good your bloody symphony was, and sorry about not replying, I just put my phone down and got super busy or whatever. By the way, I love you. And so Berlioz goes, well, I love you too. And a year later, they were married. It's a beautiful moral of the story. See, fellas, don't jump in the Mediterranean. Anyway, a few years later, they got divorced. Because weirdly, he cheated on his wife with the housemaid. Not that one, a different one. But then he married that housemaid. Hooray. But then when he died later on, for some reason, he gets buried with both of them. It's kind of strange.
Dang, but, okay. Okay. Sure. Why not? It's France, I guess. Why not?
Moving on to the Impressionist musicians. Now that's Claude de what now?
Debussy.
Claude de what?
Debussy.
You know what? You'd better go to ad time. All right, guys, welcome back to the Nord Stream. Today we're playing Assassin's Creed 3. Chat, come on, chat. Hey, everyone's spamming Nord in the chat. Whoa, a new follower! Hey, welcome to the Dream Team Sub Cream. Thank you so much for the great. Oh, unfollowed. Sorry, guys. The cleaners are here. Sorry, just ignore the mess. I haven't cleaned up these bottles yet. No, it's just tea. It's just tea. I stream for 10 hours a day, and it's like the algorithm is against me or something. How come everyone is watching Asmon's stream, and I'm not getting any new followers? I'm playing the games. What more do you want me to do? Just a quick word from the sponsor. NordVPN is the VPN that you can trust. So go to nordvpn.com/internethistorian for a huge deal on a 2-year plan plus 4 bonus months for free, plus a 30-day money-back guarantee. My God. Today we are going to be watching the new Snow White movie. I love the intro. Oh, I love seeing that Disney logo. That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Guys, I'm just gonna get up and get some food. I'll be back in a minute. What the f***? Who reported my stream? Hello, my Nordlings. Welcome back to the stream. Can we get some ends in the chat, guys? Not like that. Mods! Welcome back to the ASMR stream for NordVPN.
Oh no.
Today I'm going to be drinking a can of Coke while I say the word Nord. Nord. Hey, thank you for the tier 3 sub.
That made me very
With
uncomfortable.
NordVPN, I can be outside my house,
ASMR
Jack's
makes me
Films'
uncomfortable.
house, Samito's house, Ordinary Things' house. Just like that. Welcome back to the hot tub stream. What do you guys mean? How many hot dogs can I put in my mouth? Why? I'll just... Oh my God, $5,000 donation. Thank you so much. You guys are such good friends. Streaming's not for me. I'd rather go to nordvpn.com/internethistorian to get a huge deal on a 2-year plan plus 4 months for free. And
I might have to do that. I might have to. I feel like I've said that like 4 times, like about certain of these ads that I have to kind of just do it. But I kind of could use a VPN on my phone, honestly, not gonna lie. All right, that's a good thing to think about.
Watching Netflix, are you?
No. Not since the password sharing thing happened.
All tucked in with a 3-hour essay on Good Game Good, and here's why.
Fallout New Vegas is
like
actually
God forbid that I, use my parents' Netflix account. It's like, actually, you know what? I don't need to watch Netflix, actually. Actually, no, I don't need to watch it, though, so it's fine.
the only based Bethesda game.
Turn that off. I've got something for you much less enjoyable and far more expensive.
Ooh,
We're
that's
going
weird.
to the theater. Theater, from the ancient Greek theatron, the most dramatic of the Transformers. It means a place for viewing. Here's a Roman theater. They were quite simple back then. You have the stage, the auditorium, and the vomitorium. Now, for a very long time, people thought that the vomitorium was a place where the Romans would gorge themselves, where they would eat so much that they would throw up and then gorge themselves again because they were so decadent and/or bulimic. But it comes from the word vomere, which means to spew forth, because that's where people go in and out. So vomitorium is just a dramatic way of saying the entrance. Now, if you skip forward to the 1800s...
I kind of knew that. I was like, in my brain, I was like, the vomitorium is where, like, the performers... I was thinking that's where the performers are coming from, as more than the customers, but it's fine. Greek theaters are cool, too, because the amphitheaters, like, they were always, like, built into hills, generally, and then the Romans came along and saw, because like that was a really good way to do it, like building them into hills, because you would get a good acoustics because you don't have electric like microphones or anything. And then the Romans came along, saw that the Greeks had all of this stuff already set up and ready, and were like, actually, we're gonna build it instead of just using the stuff that's already here, because we're not compensating for anything.
Hundreds, things are getting a lot more modernized, but they still didn't have electric, so they had what's called the limelight. And that's why they say, to be in the limelight, to be the star of the show. What they would do was take a piece of quicklime and heat it up super hot, which will naturally glow very bright. They would then take reflective mirrors and lenses to focus the beam, and they would use that as an early form of the spotlight. The limelight is not because it's green, but because it's made from quicklime. In the modern day, things are a lot more advanced, and they can do all sorts of cool shit with like lasers going into your eyeballs and all sorts of stuff. But it's not just the tech that's had an upgrade, it's the architecture as well. In Elizabethan times, they had the yard, and you could get in here for about a penny apiece. And this is where all the poor people stood to watch the shows. It's like when you go to Oppenheimer and you end up with the worst seats in the IMAX theater, right? But thankfully, in modern times, we have fixed that problem. We kicked out all the poor people and we sunk the floor down low and put in an orchestra pit.
And that's where the pit is. I know there are still places you can go that still have like the standing room only place, but it's like, why would you stand for 3 hours if you don't have to? You know, we can sit. We're decadent these days.
Now, these things are usually 6 to 12 feet deep, so they're not obstructing the audience's view. But having a giant hole at the end of a stage is quite dangerous. So usually they put a big net there as well. And yet, a lot of people still get pitted. Like a lot of people. In 2011,
I've almost fallen into the pit. I have. I have known people who have fallen into the pit, but I've almost fallen into the pit. Oops.
During a production of The Sound of Music, one of the lead actresses fell into the orchestra pit and was left paralyzed from the waist down. In 2009, a conductor,
Yikes.
not a superconductor, just a regular one, fell 14 feet into the dark pit and broke 9 vertebrae and 1 ankle. Mamma mia. And he fell on his pointy conducting thing. At the Bolshoi Theatre, a violinist died from his injuries after falling into the pit.
Oof.
This theatre is prone to all sorts of accidents, by the way. It's kind of cursed. But performers and musicians...
I wonder how many people have said the name of the Scottish play whilst in the theater and then done nothing to mitigate the disasters that then follow. Just saying. I don't usually believe in things like that, but the Macker's curse is true. I believe in that one. We did that show in high school, and if you are not actively performing the show, you're not supposed to say the name of the show. Right? So and honestly, even the characters in the show who say the character's name, most of them end up dying. All of them end up miserable. Like, everyone who says the name ends up miserable. But, like, we were doing the show. The director kept saying it. And we were like, you can't say it. And she had been in previous years the tech director. And then she wanted to direct this one. So she was new at, like, that part. So it's like, you can't say the name of the show, but she kept saying it and wasn't taking any of the steps to like reverse the curse. So, at one point part of the ceiling fell in, and then, so that sucked. There's a giant hole in the ceiling. And then it turns out that there was asbestos in the ceiling. So then, because it was an old school building, so then like the whole building had to be like redone. Or like they had to get rid of all the asbestos or whatever. And then she said it again and didn't correct it. And then we had one of those snowmageddon things where we were out of school for 2 weeks. And I'm just like, you keep saying the name and bad stuff keeps happening. We never had any problems like that with any of the other shows. We never again had I don't know if they ever again had a problem like that, because that was my senior year. But still, point is, that curse is real.
Aren't the only ones falling into the pit. In 1988, an 82-year-old man fell from his balcony box seating all the way down into the pit during a performance of Macbeth. He died. Very spooky.
That's the show also, by the way. If I think I don't remember if I said the name because all the world's a stage, so I don't say it usually, even if I'm not in a theater space. But
Even already dead people are getting pitted. In 2016, a man sprinkled his friend's ashes into the orchestra pit at the Met Theatre. This happened during the intermission, and it was a sort of tribute to a mentor of his. But of course, people went, "What the hell are you doing?" And he goes, "Oh, I don't know," and he flees the scene. Everyone's coughing and sneezing up dead guy, and people think, is this anthrax? What is this? So they call in the anti-terrorism police, and the whole show is cancelled for the rest of the evening.
yikes.
A quick intermission. Or is
This would have been the time to do the ad break, I would have thought. So, therefore, while we're on intermission times, I'll do my ad break really quick. Hey, look, guys, we got shot glasses. We got some shot glasses. I got a Chicago Reacts one. I've got Americans Learn. I've got Chicanime. Huzzah. And I've got one for me as well. Hello. So we got shot glasses. I'm gonna put a link for those in the description box below. And then we can all do a shot together. With our shot glasses. It'll be fun. Anyway, that's my intermission ad drop. Let's go.
Is it? Ooh, Fiddle-tee-dee, I am the trap master.
Okay.
Not like that. Do not
What?
ask me to reveal my secrets, woman. I have dedicated my life to the mysteries of the theater. Ah, the theater. She has so many enigmatic traps. Let us start with the most simple yet devious, the wall trap. It allows the actor to walk directly into the set piece. Ah, where did he go? Nobody knows. Cast your eyes over here to the genie trap. Now the victim stands on this dumbwaiter, and a counterweight launches their hapless body up onto the stage. Wheesh! In the olden days, this circle of flaps would sometimes go on top.
There's a real standardization problem with traps. When this covering is added, the whole operation is sometimes renamed a star trap. But the trap itself, the part that moves people on and off stage, is actually just the genie trap with a new covering. Although genie trap isn't quite accurate either, because it's more of a colloquialism specific to the Aladdin stage play, referring to the trap the genie character uses. The better term would be spring lift, but in research we seldom found it used. Okay. I feel like I'd heard of... Oh, you know what? Okay, Spring Lift. I went to String Trap, which is a Five Nights at Freddy's character, so ignore me.
And then that would make the whole thing just one way. Now, back when they made this thing, they didn't have hydraulics. So instead, they'd have like 6 stagehands pulling as fast as they could. And sometimes it would go totally wonky, or it wouldn't open properly, or they'd only get about halfway through.
Oh, ow.
Well, I guess that's it. There's only 2. Wrong! This is the vampire trap. And if I want to come back up again, this is called the sunroof trap. Very cool. Watch out for the closing doors on this one. It managed to trap Spider-Man's foot back into production in 2013. Me and the Green Goblin, we collab.
Daniel Curry, an ensemble dancer, understudy body book. It's like when he was... Okay. Yeah, that Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark show or whatever. Yeah, that was plagued with really bad injuries. Like, it did not go well. I feel like I've heard one of the songs from it. It was actually kind of fun. And apparently, and I don't remember, like, where I heard this, but, like, apparently... Imagine Dragons like kind of got its start because they were asked to do a demo for the show, but then it turned out it was like people were like, you're actually really good. You should just release it. So like Radioactive was supposed to be a song in the Spider-Man musical, but someone was like, one of the producers, I don't know, was like, this is too good for this musical. You should just release it. Anyway, that it might be an urban legend. I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure that's true. But I'm going to continue to believe it's true and perpetuate the rumor regardless, so...
On this one. All right, there's one more. The Ghost Glide. What you do is stand on this slidey bit, and it ascends diagonally, which makes it look like he's coming out of the ground. But the ladies, they're yawning, they're going, ooh, short ghost. But then,
Short ghost.
5 foot, 5'1", 5'2". All the ladies are turning their heads now. 5'3", 5'4", 5'5". All the ladies are loving it. Now, I bet you're wondering, what happens to the actors when they go down these traps? Are they dead and gone forever?
Yes.
Yes, sometimes. In 1888, Frederick Federici was playing the role of Mephistopheles in Faust at the Princess Theatre in Melbourne. As he descended the trap at the end of the play, "Goodbye, everybody, goodbye," he had a heart attack and died.
Oh, well, that had nothing to do with the trap. Frederick, I would have pronounced it Federici, but Federici? Okay.
Never seen again. So as you can imagine, with this many deaths, the theatre has become a highly haunted place. Oh yes. In fact, sometimes you can put your ear right up to the wall and you can hear 2 male ghosts wrestling. Can't fake that. Another ghost hole. Don't look inside. I did once. Almost went blind. That's why I wear the mask. Anyway, because of all the ghosts, the theatres do whatever they can to keep the spirits happy. See this? It's called a ghost light. When everything is closed, it is kept on always. Kept on for the ghosts, so that they don't bump the...
Also, so alive people don't fall and die. Very good. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Like I said, I'm still like getting over this thing, but I was fine until I started filming.
Their shins in the dark or whatever. At the Palace Theatre in London, there has been some ghostly activity.
It seems to be a bit of a hotspot for ghostly activities.
And that's why they always keep 2 empty seats at the back so that the ghosts may sit there and watch the show.
So that's why we traditionally kept a couple of seats off sale for the ghosts. However, Harry Potter is so popular that we sell those seats now.
Oh. Also,
I mean, if I remember anything from Phantom of the Opera, you cannot give up the ghost seat or they will start a murder spree and kill your lead actor and take over that role, even though they don't look anything like that actor. And then earlier comments made about the actor's weight make more sense because, like, you're a skinny ghost and they're not a skinny actor. And, like, if you're gonna be taking over their role at some point, then, you know, you don't want the audience to know immediately. Anyway, that was Phantom of the Opera.
Theatres close for 1 day per week. And on those days, the ghosts are left to perform for each other in their own shows. Which they like, we think.
I was
We
worried
think
about
they
my
like it.
own vagina. It
Oh,
needed a
finally,
context,
the vagina
a
monologues.
culture of other vaginas.
You know, I wasn't always part of the elite. In fact, from a very young age, I grew up in an orphanage. No, my parents weren't dead. Rent in that building was just really cheap. But my parents showed me no affection. And as soon as they could, they sent me off to boarding school. But boards were always their passion, not mine. I tried to run away, but they caught me. And boy, did they throw the book at me. Alas, I did not dodge in time. I spent the next few years in a coma. A Native American town, Pueblo, Acoma. And the people there taught me how to read American. They also had a local library, and I spent my days buried in books, learning as much as I could about the arts. And once someone noticed me buried under those books, and they rescued me. I knew I wanted to teach default character presets like yourselves, all about Shakespeare. Editor's note, I started Googling Shakespeare and I got kind of distracted, so, I don't know, here's a WAV file. You can do something with this. Put him in like a classroom or something. All right, attention, everybody. I am your new teacher. You are a bunch of troubled inner city youths. All you know is shoot gun, fail test, and crime. But I'm here to teach you that actually books and reading and stuff are actually pretty epic after all. Now, the earliest known written language is what, Mr. Single Parent Household? I don't know, Teach, but you're never gonna get through to me. Oh, really? Well, what if I go back in time? Back in time. In the long, long ago, very few could read. But to be fair, most of the written languages were kinda shit. This is cuneiform, the very first written language, and it has far too much punctuation. Then eventually came along the Egyptians, and they invented emojis, but they would call them hieroglyphs. Anyway, the typical written thing would go like this. Message for you, sir. Big bird, man with stick, man sitting, circle. Oh, more bills. Eventually that became quite annoying, so the Phoenicians, who were a kind of Lebanese, very progressive especially for those days. Now they came up with a better idea. They started going, hey, that sounds a bit like an A. Buh, that sounds a bit like a B. Kuh, and so on and so on, until we had a proto-form of the alphabet. Now,
Oh no, I want to go. Look, shush. Stop it. Go back.
they started going,
Ah.
hey, that sounds a bit like an A. Buh, that sounds a bit like a B. Kuh, and so on and so on, until...
All right, I wanted to look at it. All right. I mean, so we've got the X-Men's logo in there. I like it. I like it. They're fun looking. Just, I mean, I was used to. All right, I like little circle. Some of those are fun. Some of those are quite a lot of fun. I also do think it is kind of funny that like you can like we have kind of gone back to hieroglyph sort of in emojis in a way. Like people will ask an entire question or like they'll have an entire phrase and it'll just be in pictures and people can figure out what they mean. I like that he has also put a note here that it was more complicated than just that. The a, b, k, you know.
We had a proto-form of the alphabet. Now, the Greeks thought that was pretty neato, but they said, let's come up with an even better version with 22 letters, and soon that will be like English. Oral history. Greeks, more like geeks. Got 'em. Oh, yeah? Well, let me tell you about something highly relatable. Of the surviving Greek works, the greatest hits were the Iliad and the Odyssey. Now, because most people couldn't read, this stuff wasn't written down for a very long time, and instead it was memorized and performed. And when they performed it, they used one of these, a lyre. Now, this was great for conveying tone, right? So here's a soft bit, doo-doo-doo, but then this is a big dramatic bit. Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Now, the Iliad starts with this guy, Menelaus, king of Sparta, and he has a wife, Helen, and she is a very fine lady. And then the Prince of Troy shows up. His name is Paris, and he goes, damn, shorty, awooga, awooga. Hey, that's what he'd say, right? And he and his boys abduct her and took her all the way back to his crib in Troy. Now this makes Menelaus quite miffed.
Hey, hold on there, Buster.
He declares a turf war, but he can't win it alone, so he calls on his homies. Odysseus, king of Ithaca, and Achilles, the best drive-by shooter of all time. But Achilles is not in the mood to fight.
Achilles won a beautiful maiden as a war prize, but Agamemnon, king of Mycenae, took the maiden for himself. Achilles felt so dishonored by the whole thing, he refused to help in the Trojan War. Other versions include him being prevented from bad-touching a particular woman of low nobility. It gets complicated. I thought he was with Patroclus. I thought Achilles and Patroclus were a thing. I don't know.
So the whole of the Iliad is basically spent trying to convince this guy to get involved.
Please?
No.
Please?
No.
Eventually, they win the turf war by being very sneaky. They make a giant horse, which is the symbol of Troy, and they leave it at the front gate. That's their way of saying, "Oh, I guess you win. We're walking away now." And meanwhile, thousands of soldiers go off and hide in some bushes. Now, the Trojans are very suspicious, but they can see that the Greek ships are actually sailing away into the horizon. So they know, oh, it must be real, must be real. We've won,
Some versions have the ships simply full of soldiers and then sailing back at night rather than hiding somewhere and waiting for nightfall. I'm learning about this. All I really remembered about the Trojan War was that I feel like it started with the golden apple or whatever, and like the Hera, Aphrodite, and Athena asked. No. I thought there was something about a golden apple. I only know, like, I have a vague memory of learning the mythology part of it, but I didn't have to read the Iliad in school. I had to read Agamemnon. I hope he dies. He's the worst. Clytemnestra did nothing wrong. I had to read Oedipus. I had to read the Odyssey. I didn't have to read the Iliad.
won the many years' war. But actually, there's almost no one on those ships, and there's a surprise inside the horse. Later that night, when everyone's asleep, boiling hot tzatziki everywhere. And also some soldiers wearing thermal protection. They get out and...
There was no hot tzatziki. It was elite soldiers hiding in there. Some misunderstandings or oversimplifications of the story have the idea that an entire small army was holed up in the horse. See, that's what I kind of thought. I thought it was like there was a bunch of people in there. I wonder, though, if the tzatziki is, if he is taking some stuff from the Alibaba story where the thieves were hiding in barrels, and then Alibaba's wife went around and poured hot oil in all of the barrels and killed them all.
They open the gates, and then everyone comes out of the bushes, running into the city, and kill everybody. After they win the war, Odysseus heads back home to Ithaca. However, on his way, he starts making beef with Poseidon, god of the sea. And Poseidon is mad at the disrespect, so he sends a...
No, shh. I need to know these things. Odysseus was supposed to give his thanks to the gods, sort of, it's complicated, and then he blinded Poseidon's son, Polyphemus, the Cyclops. Right. I thought it was something like Odysseus is one of those people who, like, there was a prophecy where he was supposed to do a thing, and he was like, but I'm not gonna kill my kid in order to do the thing. And so that's why his wife waited for him for 20 years. And he made an enemy or two of a god, even though he didn't really do anything wrong at first. And then suddenly now he's in trouble for 20 years.
Respect. So he sends Odysseus on a long-ass detour, and that detour is the story of the Odyssey. Pretty epic, right, kids? Whoa, Teach, that's fire. I'm starting to come around. That Odysseus guy is literally me. Yeah, I'm gonna try that horse trick on my ops. Homer, from Homer's Odyssey, is not a character in the story. He's the guy who tells the story, and then people wrote it down. Now, moving chronologically to the next big one, you've got the Bible. And for all practical purposes, this was basically an oral tradition too. Most people were illiterate by this point.
Okay. We're going to keep pausing to read all the things. Literacy rates in the 1400s were around 10% for women and men and 1.5 for women. Yikes. But it's more complicated because the definition of literate was often denoted the ability to read and write Latin and or Greek sometimes. To really learn literacy, one would have to go to a grammar school. But in the contemporary sense of literate, where you can still sound out most things and roughly get by, what they would call legere, up to half the population may have had that skill set according to some sources. Oh, okay. When you think about it, it makes sense. Otherwise, why would they have signs like Ye Olde Tavern if only a few people know what it says? That's cool. All right. So it only counted as literate if you knew smart people, like a second language, essentially. Then you're literate if you know Latin or Greek. But everyone can kind of figure out other stuff. Okay. That does make a certain amount of sense. I had not thought about that.
And the Bible was written in Latin. And pretty much only the clergy knew Latin, so they would be the one to recite it to people.
It says that the cute lady at the front should go on a date with me, please. Listen, the rules are the rules. I didn't say it, the book did.
There was a translated version into English, the Wycliffe's Bible, and you better believe that thing was a threat to the order. So they made that illegal to own.
What?
And if you were found with an unlicensed copy, the punishment would be death. So it remained. The Bible was read to the people. Now, by the 1300s came Chaucer, who wrote the Canterbury Tales, and that was a pretty big deal.
Get this book.
Because it's one of the first significant works written in Middle English. It describes a bunch of people making a pilgrimage from Southwark to Canterbury, which is here to here, which was the longest journey anyone had ever made in the 1300s. Now, it's a whole series of stories, and most of them can be boiled down to, how come if everyone is on a pilgrimage, you're all so focused on material stuff? Oh, hypocrites much? Dong. It's now the 1600s, and they've updated all the textbooks from Middle English to regular. In 1601, King James I said, all right, you know what? Let's everyone have a copy of the Bible they can read.
Also, he wanted to bone his boyfriend in peace, and the clergy was getting on his ass about whose ass he was getting on. And so he was like, you know what? Make the Bible English. Here you go. And I'm just going to just sit over here and quietly continue to promote my boyfriend and keep giving him more lands and money and make sure that his rooms in my castle have a door that leads into my rooms in the castle. Oh, good. We have a Bible now that's written in English for everybody. The King James Bible.
Still a King James Bible. I won't feature in it, but I'd love to be in the title. And he commissioned a committee of scholars to rewrite the thing in English, God's language. It took 8 years. And that brings us to Shakespeare. And he's a huge deal. Oh, look, we're out of time. But sir, we're supposed to do penis inspection day today. No, there's no time. Roll the end card. Okay. The end. All right, that's the lesson. You watched the whole video. Or at least, you had it on in the background while you scrolled your phone. And I couldn't be prouder of you. There's just one more quick thing I want to tell you about. Theater props. For example, this gun. Now, the thing... Oh, look who it is. I know what you're thinking, but it's just an actor. We all know that the real Lincoln is dead. You know, when he fell asleep on the tracks of the Underground Railroad.
Yeah.
Anyway, this thing's super realistic. Although the trigger is a little loose. Ruh-roh. Oh, I can't believe you did that. But I won't tell anyone. And, in fact, good news. I'm gonna make you my little protege. And I will be your protojo. And I got so many more lessons to teach.
Okay.
Still here, huh? Yes, just a little cleaning. More good news. Next video is almost done. It'll be on incognito mode, and it's about the arts. And the next main channel video is also nearly done. That'll be out shortly after. If you're looking for more content in the meanwhile, we have another channel called Story Mode. The Metal Gear Solid and Forspoken videos are especially good. Don't forget NordVPN. Thank you for watching. More soon.
Okay. I feel fancier already. You guys. I hope you do too. But yeah, no, that was fun. I like learning more about theater and remembering things about theater. I used to know so much, like, about the history of theater, and, like, I used to know so much about it, and now I remember things. I do remember things, but I also, have forgotten a lot. It's been a long time since I've actually studied it, and, the things I remember, it was because I wrote something snarky about it in my notes at the time. But, you know, that's how that goes. So, I don't know. Anyway, I hope you had fun with that. I hope you learned something. I know I did, and I hope that the information that I imparted wasn't stuff that I just kind of vaguely remembered, and I hope it was real. But either way, it's fun to think about. So, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Make sure you leave your comments in, well, you know where the comments go. You know where the comments go. And don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like the video. I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.